To brand-funded content in 3 easy steps. Very happy to have you. We've got an amazing group of panelists. My name is Stephen Amato. I'm founder of Omelet, a strategic marketing and content company in Los Angeles. Been around for almost 8 years, and we're kind of like right in the middle of all of this stuff. As far as what we're doing here today, we've heard a lot of panels about how everything is changing, but we're really going to try and focus on getting people that are content creators, network studios, kind of behind the scenes on some of the deals that have been done with the people that are actually at the head of the game here. So with no further ado, I want to make some introductions to a great lineup of panelists. Tony Pace is SVP Global Chief Marketing Officer. Tony, can you tell us a little bit about what that title means and what you're doing in the space?
That means that I get to decide whatever we do in the space.
Yeah,
it also means we've actually made this an important strategic initiative that we've really been doing going back 4 or 5 years, and we're always looking to kind of expand our portfolio of places that we do it.
Okay, thank you. Next is Nick Buzzell. He is the president of NBTV Studios. Nick, can you tell us a little bit about NBTV and what you guys are up to?
Yeah, we're a global content, interactive production studio focused on working with brands, agencies, and entertainment companies. We're really excited about the space and what can really be done leveraging technology, entertainment, and advertising.
Cool, thanks. Next, we have Angus MacKenzie, who is the Chief Content Officer for Source Interlink Media. He's got a rich background. Angus, can you tell us a little about your background first and then talk about your new role?
Well, I began my career in print, remember that? About 25 years ago. Chief Content Officer of Source Interlink Media. Basically, I'm sort of overseeing our ongoing transformation from being a legacy magazine publishing business. We started with Hot Rod and Motor Trend magazines 65 years ago, and transforming into a content creation company. We create editorial content, entertainment content, and advertising content. And what we're doing is finding the sweet spot. We know the industry, the automobile industry, our action sports group. We also know our audience. So we're in the sweet spot and we're exploiting that.
Yeah, thank you. So, and also we have Andy Marks, General Manager of Matter, very interesting company. So,
Matter is the entertainment and sports marketing division of Edelman, the world's largest PR agency. And we have a specific focus. One of our specific focuses is on creation of branded entertainment for Edelman's clients as well as our own. We have 50 people in 3 offices across the country. And we've basically built up if you will, a brand content studio advocating our clients' interests in developing partnerships with media companies, with content creators, and making sure that their brand, as expressed, elegantly and artfully, in collaboration with those content creators.
So obviously we have the right people on the panel to kind of answer this question. We would be idiotic to not give you the 3 easy steps because, let's face it, there are no 3 easy steps. But before that, we're going to give you some context. Obviously, 2012 is set to be a really crazy year. But with disruption, we know that comes a lot of opportunity. And what we try and focus on at Omelet is just like, what are the pillars that aren't going to change? And one of which is that, brands are, in 2012, they're still going to need to sell products no matter what. So the other truth that's not going to change is that people, human beings, are going to need to be entertained. We believe that everything else beyond that is up for grabs. So, and I think, represented here is a bunch of people doing a lot of different things that basically hit those core truths. So, interesting stat, just to get us started, 63% of the world's largest brands plan to participate in branded entertainment projects in 2012. I've been in this game for a long time, almost 10 years in brand entertainment. To see this stat is a total validation of where it's going, and it feels great. So for you who are content creators out there, this represents an unbelievable opportunity for you to get your stuff funded correctly. You probably just need to know how to do it. So that's what we're here to do. Obviously, I italicized the word easy because it's not really that easy. But to step 1 of how to get your brand funded content happening, if you want to sell your piece of art or your screenplay or your teleplay, go and sell it to a studio or a network. Don't bother coming to a brand with it unless you are J.J. Abrams or somebody that really they are interested in because you have a base audience. But really, what marketers buy are solutions. They have problems. They spend money against problems. Your idea has to be a solution for them. So don't just think about selling your script. Think about selling an idea that solves a problem for a brand. In the case of each of these brands up here, well, Andy does that for a living. He basically looks for insights with his brand, says, hey, how do I, to his point about his brand's interests, how do I keep my brand's interests in mind with using entertainment? Because we're not doing this because we're all struggling, TV producers that want to get it. We're doing this because marketing dollars are going to advertising that's not working, so how do we create experiences that people actually want to participate in? So that's where entertainment comes from. So that's step one. Step two, if you can, you got to be your own, as a content creator, you should think about yourself more as creating your own network. And you see this a lot in YouTube. People are actually creating their own fan base. Brands basically buy audience. So think about that as you're thinking about building a piece of content. Think about what the audience and the framework around your audience and what a brand can basically fund beyond just the production. And step three, don't just let technology be your friend. Tell your story how does your story live in a live event? How does it live beyond? I mean, Tony could talk about how, he doesn't just buy one medium, he buys the entire universe. And like the High School Heroes is a good example of stuff where, you touched consumers in every way. So those are the 3 steps, enough for me. On to the guys that matter. And to that point, I'm going to hand it over to Tony Pace, who can kind of give you his examples of ways that content creators can get their content funded by brands.
Thanks, Stephen. Let me give you a little background on how long we've been doing this at Subway. We really started doing this on I would say, strategic basis, meaning we wanted to do it again and again and again with a wider swath of entertainment properties dating back to about 2007. We had done some stuff which I would describe as kind of one-offs before then, but we said, it's really a mistake to do it that way. And then we actually did some consumer research where we had these branded message integrations out there, and it was amazing that a single integration would be picked up on consumer tracking. Now, why I say that's crazy is you would never pick up, unless maybe it was a Super Bowl spot, you would really never pick up a single placement of an ad. So the fact that you'd pick up a single integration, even if it wasn't for a heck of a lot of time, and even if it was pretty deftly done, that kind of validated the premise that we had all along. So we've been doing this for a long time with an ever-expanding portfolio. We've had an awful lot of success in shows like Biggest Loser and Chuck. We had a pretty significant role in keeping Chuck on the air way back when. It's in its last season now, and we're proud of the fact that we had an appropriate role there in keeping that going forward. The thing that I'm going to share with you today is something that's happening right now, which is something that we're doing with Late Night with Jimmy Fallon. And we've done a lot of things with that show over time, and they're going to be broadcasting live from Indianapolis during the Super Bowl. So we started having conversations with them back, I think it was late September, early October, about, would you guys like to be a part of this? Let's do something different. And we had good back and forth on that. We said, yeah, we're committed, and kind of crazily, I guess you'd say, we committed before we had the exact idea, saying we're going to do something. Well, in some of the back and forth with Jimmy and his creative team, they wanted to do this Subs Across America thing. Being the marketing guy, I'm like, that's great, but it's got to be Subway Subs Across America. And we talked about how we were going to roll that out. And really the concept was pretty simple. It was, have people send in videos where they're passing a sub in front of something that is hopefully iconic in every state, so you can actually show a sub being passed all across the country. Now, the whole notion that we're big and we're across the country and we're popular might not necessarily be the most important thing that we communicate, but again, we like communicating that message because not many people really realize how big and how all-encompassing Subway is. So, it's always good to come across as being a popular brand, and this is a way of reinforcing that, because then people frankly feel good about choosing those brands because they think they're choosing something that's in the mainstream. So the thought was we would do this thing kind of, a few days before Jimmy and the show went out to Indianapolis, but he was so excited about the idea that he actually started doing pieces pitching this at the beginning of January. So what was supposed to be a couple-day event has become a month-long event. And I'll share with you a couple of the clips, and you'll see some of the pieces that we're doing as we move toward the big football game in India in early February. Okay, guys, go ahead.
On the road for the first time ever, we're going to go to Indianapolis for the Super Bowl. Going to Indy. I'm excited. And I want to have a bit where we want you guys to help us. I want you guys to share in our fun for this big football week that we're going to be. So I came with this idea, and Subway teamed up with us. It's called Subs Across America. All right, now here's what you do. All you have to do is tape yourself in front of some iconic landmark or just some landmark in your area, catching a Subway footlong from your right side, and then passing it off to your left side. And then we'll put all those videos together, and it'll look like we passed the sub across America.
Yeah.
See, it's fun. You catch from the right, pass it on the left-hand side.
Yeah.
Pass the sub on the left-hand side. Pass the sub on the left-hand side. It was a cool and footlong, it had turkey too. So we take it. We started getting some really awesome videos. Everyone's sending. I think we have like 30 states already covered from our great country. But and we'll do 2 from the same state if they're good.
Yeah.
But here's an example of what you can do. You get to there, Florida, whips it off, and there's a Tebow. There you go. That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it.
Oh, nice.
He's cute, yeah. So here's the deal. Send us your video, and if your video is our favorite, you're going to win a 1-year supply of Subway and a catered party for you and your friends during the big game. It's a good contest. We want to get all 50 states, so go out, make your own, upload it to latenightwithjimmyfallon.com/Subway. Let's do this, America. Come on!
I think there's a second one on there.
Great. Hey guys, as you might have heard, we're taking our show on the road for the first time ever. We're going to Indianapolis for the Super Bowl, you guys. Very excited. So I had this fun idea. It was a weird idea. So we teamed up with Subway, and this idea is called Subs Across America. Now all you have to do is record yourself in front of some iconic landmark in your area, catching a Subway footlong from your right side, and then passing it off to your left side. And then we're going to put all of the videos together. It look like we just passed the sub across America. Yeah. So we've already started getting some really awesome videos. Check this out, this one right here.
Go.
There you go. Good. Hey, there you go. That's what I'm talking about. That was advanced. That was advanced. You didn't have to do that. But they were very good and they were very creative. Now, we have videos from over 35 states. But we want to get at least one from all 50 states. So let's take a look at which states we still need videos from over here. Okay, this is the official Subway Subs Across America map. All the states with the Subway logo are ones we already have videos from. In fact, we just got a video from Oregon today, so we'll take this guy off. Will you? Why are you clapping? Did you take the video? There's 30 people in that video. All right, so look, Alaska. Does anyone have any friends in Alaska? Yeah. Take a video, please, and send it in. You'll be on TV, okay? Alaska, I need you here. Indiana, we're going to the Super Bowl here. Come on. We're going to... Send in a video. What's wrong with these people? Yeah. And actually, Vermont, I got peoples in Vermont. Rhode Island? Come on. Let's get it over there. If you already have a video from your state, send it anyway, because if we pick your state as our favorite or your video as our favorite one, you'll get a 1-year supply of Subway and a catered party for you and your friends during the big game. So it's a good prize. It's really fun. Upload your videos to latenightwithjimmyfallon.com/Subway. Let's do this, America. Come on, call your friends.
All right,
Louisiana,
that is a great example
Stick
of...
around, be right back.
So a couple lessons. I know those clips are a little bit long, but we're obviously very happy with them. We didn't prescribe, how much time he had to do that. you know, when you let them, we let Jimmy and the band ad-lib, that's great stuff. We tried not to put, you know, very tight guardrails around it. Is there some risk with that? Of course there's some risk. Do you worry about passing a sub? Is somebody going to drop it? What are you going to get? I mean, the good news is that we obviously have the ability to take a look at that piece, but it shows the, you know, the broad breadth appeal of the brand, and it reinforces, you know, our number one selling thing, which is footlongs.
Yeah,
and as I said earlier, it reinforces the popularity of the brand, but you've got to be willing to have a dialogue with the creative people on a regular basis about what they're doing. There's other things that are happening now the show being in Indy, and, you know, there's going to be some musical pieces around this and other stuff, but, you know, when the creative team feels good response, which is what they're feeling here, you get so much more than you originally talked about. And, you know, we're happy to do that. I think we're probably a little more prone to take what we think are intelligent risks, but at the end of the day, this one so far has paid off great, and we're, you know, still
it's Jimmy
2
Fallon.
weeks out.
I mean, it's like, you know, he's coming to you and giving you ideas. That's pretty amazing.
Right.
So that's one way when you are Jimmy Fallon and have a built-in audience and a platform to going and getting a brand on board to do content is a little easier. I think we're going to get into is how do people that aren't Jimmy Fallon potentially get their brand funded, and you've done a lot of that as well, Tony. I'm moving along to Nick. Did you have a video or a PowerPoint you want to talk about an experience in this way?
Yeah, thanks. Basically, what we do is work with content creators across several categories. We develop content in every vertical that you can think of, from moms to urban to hip hop. And what we really are excited about is kind of bridging that gap between good storytelling, because I think we can all agree, regardless of the brand underwriting or where you're seeing it, that it's about a good entertaining story. So we have a motto of like entertain first and brand and sell second. And what we're also really excited about is using technology as a utility to create the measurement. I think you're hearing a lot and you're seeing a lot about measurement and what does it mean and what is ROI. So we're really focused on taking creative ideas and leveraging technology, whether that be mobile or that be e-commerce or a combination of them, to create an immersive experience for the viewer, specifically leveraging all the screens that we have in our lives. So what you're about to see from us is a compilation of the types of stuff that we do, but for us it's really just the tip of the iceberg, and we're really excited about 2012 because as you mentioned, Steve, there's a lot of excitement in the space. There's a lot riding on it, and I think the brands, similar to what Tony's doing, that want to take the initiative to be front and center on this are going to get the most recognition, are going to be the most groundbreaking, but we really try to push that envelope into the never been done before, which, as you know, is sometimes a chicken and the egg, because you have brands that say, I want to see what it's going to look like, but it's never been done before. So if you want to roll that, you get a quick understanding about what we do.
I am well cared for.
NBTV.
So as you can see, you know, we're very diverse, and that's what really gets us excited about, is not really staying too connected to any one style or genre. And one of the things that we've done this year, and really, you know, as we work with our clients, is not only have great creative and good strategy as it leverages all the distribution channels, but it's also to align ourselves with the biggest distributors in both TV and web to create the opportunity to get everywhere that the brand wants to be, but really that showmanship and that excitement of entertainment, which I think a lot of people tune into. You know, there's a lot of stuff out there. So curation for us is the other aspect, and what we try to do instead of doing this kind of buckshot approach is go where the audience is, give them something compelling and entertaining and exciting, and give them a reason to keep coming. I think when you look at some of the best examples is with this always-on social media kind of driven environment, is to keep producing content. You know, I think a lot of brands will do a one-off, they'll do it a couple of times, and they'll go, well, I got this great audience, and now they're gone. So I think, you know, part of the value that we bring is the ability to constantly produce high-quality content, but also do it with an entertainment value that feels like television or film, and, you know, doing it within the budget parameters that often comes with digital.
All right, thanks a lot, Nick. Angus sits in a really unique position overseeing a lot of content. So Angus, can you talk a little bit about that and a little bit about your role some more?
Well, I'll focus on MotorTrend. Prior to this job as editor-in-chief of MotorTrend, and as a brand, you know, we're at the coalface of creating content in the automotive space, and we have a unique relationship. One of the few media that regularly bites the hand that feeds it. In other words, you know, if we do a review of a new product, our customers expect us to tell it like it is. And I've run magazines, car magazines in Britain, I've run them in Australia, and there have been times in the past where angry advertisers have pulled their advertising from the print product. But for us, getting brand-funded content to deliver to our audience, it's an interesting play against that background. But what we want to do is that we have this audience, mainly men, who want cool stuff about cars. And so sometimes we can use car companies to help us create the cool content that we could never afford to do ourselves. We've done a couple of different things. One example to look at is Suzuki. Suzuki has a car called the Kizashi. It's a small company, doesn't have a lot of dealer representatives here, doesn't have a lot of money to spend. They were looking for a cool idea, so I suggested, why don't we go to Japan and drive a new Suzuki Kizashi from Tokyo to Los Angeles, the hard way. In other words, across Japan, up through Siberia, the coast of Russia, put it on a plane to Alaska, then drive it down the coast.
That's cool.
And so they liked the idea. We would, while we were driving, create content as we went. So daily blogs from the road. We also had, and we run very lean. We had a one-camera shoot along with us, a video guy. And we rolled out blogs on a daily basis as we were traveling through Japan, up through Russia, and then down through the coast. All the time, there's content being created, video being shot. At the end of it all, we collated it all together. The blogs were reworked into a single large piece for the web with 4 10-minute videos documenting different parts of the adventure. That also parlayed into 2 10-page print pieces which were run over successive issues in MotorTrend magazine. And then we packaged the whole lot together one more time into a feature for our newly launched iMag, which included interactivity with maps and videos and so forth. So we took one opportunity. We could never have afforded to have done this. Suzuki did all the groundwork in terms of the logistics, making sure we could get through Russia without having the cars impounded by customs and things like that. And we got out of it a great story. It's branded entertainment in the classic sense. Now, as I said, we're an editorial-based brand, so we do have this responsibility to be a separation between church and state. So how was this branded entertainment still legitimate as editorial? Well, first, there was a legitimate story to be told there. We could have told that story with any number of comparable products. I could have gone to Toyota and said, can we drive a Toyota Corolla from Tokyo to Los Angeles, or a Honda, or whatever. Suzuki took the bait. There was no expectation from Suzuki of any endorsement from any of the editors who are appearing in the videos or writing the stories. We'd already reviewed the car anyway. What Suzuki was looking for was something that made a bit of a splash. And we also offered to Suzuki they could use all the assets that we produced out of there. They could repackage and repurpose and use for themselves. So, you know, they had the opportunity to repackage the story into either a print or an IMAG publication. They used the imagery in their advertising at auto shows and in print. Some of that print advertising actually appeared in our own publications. So from our point of view, we're at once a creator and an end user of branded entertainment. And the Suzuki one's not the only one we've done. We've done similar programs with Dodge, and we're working on other programs as well. And as we get, I said, we do branded entertainment as well as advertising. Now we have the capability in-house to create advertising content to go around some of those stories. Has none of our branding on it, has none of our editorial faces involved with it, but we just reuse the assets and come up with advertising for the client at a far lower cost than can be done through the traditional agency medium. And because we know them and we know our audience, we can target it very specifically.
Thanks, Angus. So Andy, how do you fit into this? And I think heard some really distinctly different approaches to getting content funded by brands. What is your model? How are you finding that you're able to get your content funded by brands?
Well, we represent the brand, so we come from that perspective, and so our job is, as I was saying before, to really look for the right opportunity. You know, there's got to be the right brand fit, as you were saying before, the right context, the right audience fit. And so we really look for opportunities to zero in on what the brand objectives are, go out with a brief to the creative community to actively solicit ideas, depending on what phase of the sort of marketing cycle we are in the planning cycle. One of our clients is Clorox, and they're going into brand planning now for 2013.
How do these content creators here get their hands on that brief or that?
To be in contact with us. We've got the sort of permission from the brand after having sort of vetted the brief and written the brief to go out to the creative community and share that with people that we have relationships with.
It's like a trusted relationship that you basically vet.
Correct.
And then you have a process of elimination.
And then identify, you know, a few different select projects that we think make sense, that we think fit the brief, and that will deliver on whatever the objectives are. And then we bring that back to the client. We go through it. At some stage, we will bring the content creator themselves in to meet with the brand and make sure that there's a chemistry fit and that everybody's in it for the right reasons and that there's a true partnership spirit at work. So I'm just going to run through some examples just real quick. Just the first slide. This gives a snapshot of some of the stuff that we've done, and the point I'll make about this slide is that whether it's Brita, which is a integration into The Biggest Loser, going on 4 years, 12 seasons, every year working with Reveille and NBC on how do we keep it fresh, how do we continue to
Don't
meet
steal
the brand.
our word, huh?
What's that?
That's
Don't
Subway's
steal our
word.
word,
Right.
man.
Well, that was for your
Trademarked.
benefit. Right, exactly, fresh. But so from that end of the spectrum, major network integration to a web series. And in some cases, in a lot of cases, you see we work with the cooking channel on the Food Network for Hidden Valley Ranch. We put Butterball into Top Chef. And with Armor All and Tony Stewart, we've created a series which has been ongoing and actually airs, quote unquote, on NASCAR.com. And that's showing Tony off track, Tony, in his life. And that's been very successful for Armor All for their specific audience. But it's, various aspects of this. And we also will go out and commission storytellers, commission a director and a writer to develop a concept. And and then go out with a targeted syndication plan, distribute it ourselves, use it on the owned assets of our client. So I'm going to take a little bit of a different tack, sort of keying off of Cars and Jimmy Fallon and sort of Super Bowl. I'm going to go to the next slide. I'm going to take a little bit of a departure. Clorox is a major client of ours, and the primary audience for Clorox, especially their core brands, is moms. So this is an example of where a content creator came to us with a concept with the target audience in mind. He knew we had Clorox as a client. We had been in contact with the production company that he was aligned with for this particular project, and they brought it to us. And basically the concept is super moms. Moms, anybody who's a mom can identify with that feeling of sort of, every day you're a superhero in one respect or another. And so this came to us from Jonathan Prince, creator of Blossom and American Dreams. So this is an A-list TV showrunner, very successful, came with a sort of, concept that where he really embraced working with Clorox, working with the brand, and finding, again, those artful and organic ways to integrate them into the story. So I'm going to just show a trailer. Hopefully this runs.
So what do we know?
Dr. Deconstructo's at it again.
Fiery firestorms?
Horrible hurricanes?
Perilous pockets of pestilence. Skunks. Ugh. Supermoms, it's quality time.
Other superheroes find the time.
Well, they have wives and girlfriends behind them. Lois Lane, Mrs. Batman.
There is no Mrs. Batman.
Yeah? Well, should be.
So, moms. So this actually, just go to the next slide real quick. So this is tough to read, but basically, so Jonathan Prince was our partner on this. Red Lever Studios, ourselves, and Clorox. It was a real collaboration. Again, the target young moms, 8 episodes running from now. Just launched last week with the first episode. New episode aired or launched today on Facebook. It's a push strategy, targeted syndication online, and then a Facebook hub. So rather than driving our mom audience back to a hub site, we're reaching them where they're already engaging online. And then with Facebook, we've got that social media overlay, if you will, to really drive engagement. And there's all kinds of trailer, behind the scenes, bloopers, blogs in the voice of the characters, interviews. So you like us, or you like the content, it unlocks all of that ancillary content that's available. Recognizable stars, Joey Lauren Adams from Chasing Amy, Hank Baskett, who is a football player and also known as Mr. Kendra Wilkinson, so he's a reality star, and that brings attention as well. And interestingly enough, from Clorox's perspective, this is 4 Clorox brands, 4 different brands, different products involved in the series. So while that creates challenges on the one hand with respect to, not competing, but every brand has their own objectives and their own goals and interests. But from a financial perspective and from a economies of scale and production perspective, we're able to sort of amortize the cost over 4 different brand budgets. So that was a benefit. So that's Supermoms. It's a little bit of a departure from us. A lot of what we do is unscripted. This is a scripted series. It's a real nice interplay, as you saw, between, and as the series progresses, you really see the interplay. They have a lot of fun with the bouncing of the characters between live action and animation, and they're sort of animated alter egos. And a lot of moms, we've already, within the last week or so, have gotten a ton of likes, about 15,000 likes over the course of the last week. And a lot, more importantly, a lot of a conversation that's been driven around the content. So that's something that we always look for, is finding ways to drive that conversation with our audience, to deepen engagement, and that's what we measure. We measure views, we measure engagement. And a lot of those projects that I mentioned, what we're looking for here is a long-term partnership. Jonathan Prince has really embraced the notion of sort of the creative challenge of integrating a brand, as I said, artfully into the content, and really sort of partnering on that basis. So that's been really great to see and really important for us as we roll this out and go forward.
All right, Andy, thanks a lot. I know we're running out of time, but I want to, if anybody has any questions, this is a great opportunity to actually ask really people that are advancing content into the world. If you have a question as a content producer or anyone, please step up. I've got just one question about NBTV Studios. Do you guys take pitches from content producers? How is your model? Because we didn't really actually get to that.
Yeah, we absolutely do, and what we're excited about is being a place where content creators can come with ideas, with properties that are produced, or just ideas on paper. We love collaborating with good stories, good creative, and figuring out where the best home is for it. As I mentioned, I think what's unique about our approach is we look at it through that lens of an entertainer, having been in the television business and some of the digital media work that I've done, but then also looking at it through the advertiser's eyes and thinking, where are these key elements, but then taking it even one step further and saying, how does technology drive this? And whether it's using Facebook and creating some type of augmented reality, or leveraging a great idea to become more of an event-driven property, we would love for all the creatives in the world to think of us as the first stop on the pitch train. If
You guys hear that? Cards from that guy.
We're open.
So yeah, and Tony, how do you solicit ideas from people that aren't Jimmy Kimmel?
Jimmy Fallon?
Jimmy Fallon.
Two Jimmys on late at night.
Yeah. Different network.
We actually have a couple different folks that work with us in the space. So Stuart McLean at Content & Company does a lot of great work with us, and Rob Maresca, who is actually on set an awful lot, especially on the scripted shows. They represent us. They're both based on the West Coast. And then on my team, we have a really terrific gal by the name of, it's now Caitlin Burke, who interacts with Rob and Stuart. And we're always looking for stuff. I guess, we don't like people to come to us with ideas that are fully baked. We'd rather have the conversation about, here's what our objectives are, because then we can create something that makes an awful lot of sense. And not to brag too much about our brand, but the last couple of years, a polling company by the name of YouGov, which does about 5,000 interviews a night, has said that both for 2010 and 2011 that Subway is the brand among all brands, meaning over 1,100 brands, that has the most positive brand buzz. And in our tracking of that, the fact that we've been doing content, embedded in content, has been a significant contributor to that rating. So, and a couple weeks ago, Facebook did their own piece, and it said that Subway's the most talked about brand on Facebook. Subway's talked about more on Facebook than Facebook, and we're talked about more than Angry Birds and YouTube and a few other things. And I think that's all about content being a great way, as everybody was saying up here, of starting conversations. Because at the end of the day, you know, Starbucks may have more than twice as many fans on Facebook than we do, but we have a lot more conversations.
Yeah.
And social media is about having the conversation, not just having people say they like you.
Absolutely.
And participation.
Yep.
And we have one question back here.
Yes.
Can you introduce yourself?
Jay Seidel from Real Trio Productions. What would you suggest for a show that has maybe 50% clearance, a strip that's on like 3 networks, B-level networks, to obtain branding, either you know, as sponsorship or even, you know, branding during the show in any type of aspect?
Well, to some degree, you know, a brand can help you get more clearance because, you know, we're big advertisers in the traditional sense of that word. So if people know we're interested in something, we can usually have conversations about that. But I think the question is, at what stage are you in terms of the development and production of that? And again, from our standpoint, earlier is always better. And, you know, we don't need to be there necessarily in a big way, but we need to be there in a way that's good for our brand and appropriate for the content that you're creating.
And are there certain companies you mentioned earlier, other than going directly to your company,
Yeah.
that you can deal with?
Yeah, so Content and Company was the fellow Stuart McLean who I mentioned, and we have an individual by the name of Rob Maresca. You know, they're out there. You know, we don't believe in being passive in this space. We're not waiting for stuff to come to us. We're out there looking for what we want. So, you know, we have conversations all the time, and, you know, my team does a great job with that, and I'm actually out having some of those conversations. I mean, frankly, some of the stuff that we've done and we're doing now is the result of conversations that happened 3 or 4 years ago, and it took a while to get to that place because everybody had to be comfortable with what we're doing. So, you know, I think that the title of this was Easy Steps. You know, easy it is not, okay? What it really takes is getting alignment on what makes sense for the creative content and what makes sense for the brand or business, and sometimes that takes a real long time to do. So, you know, we're fortunate, we're doing quite well. We can have a pretty long-term planning horizon. And we believe this helps our business an awful lot and helps our brand an awful lot. But it's not just about driving sales the day this thing happens. It's about, hey, did you see that? You know, people are going to pass around some of those videos from Jimmy Fallon and a lot of the other stuff we've done, and that has a very long tail for the brand, which is a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, I always characterize it to clients as asset creation.
Right.
You know, these are, rather than a 30-second spot, which arguably has a diminishing value, a very quickly diminishing value over time, content actually retains its value over time and can be repurposed again and again. So some of the series that we've done that are now in their, you know, 3rd or 4th season, say online, we're still syndicating the first season of those web shows and engaging audiences with it. So the more of that you can do, you're amortizing your costs over a longer period of, you know, more assets, longer period of time, they perform for you. And that's what we're in the business of building for our clients, a library of assets that they can repurpose and they can continually extract value and increase their ROI.
Yeah, and if I could build on Andy's point, I mean, we talk about marketing assets all the time, all right? People talk about marketing being an expense. I always have the argument with my financial guys, if I do something great now that gets deployed in other places, you're not evaluating it properly. So if Biggest Loser is running in Australia, and they're running stuff that I did in 2007 here, where we're embedded in the show, that benefits the subways in Australia. So I think you have the episodic use of something versus the long-term use of something. You know, we much prefer to have assets that can be deployed time and time again, and that also means multi-platform, so getting outside of wherever it was originally used.
Do we have another question behind you?
Thank you, gentlemen, for an informative panel. I have a question. Bradley Shen, I run a social video agency in Vancouver, as a matter of fact. And one of the challenges I have is monetization around what's sometimes relegated to being less. A video eyeball is just worth less than a television eyeball in general. And with social changing the space so much, and obviously changing branded content and customer interactions and ownership of the brand in the social space, how does that change this game, and what's the value of that? How do we make money off of that? And does a content producer even have a chance at skin in the game on that?
Well, to us, size of audience always matters. You know, so as rudimentary as it is, you know, we always look at cost per thousand. That's not the only thing we look at. Engagement really matters. You know, personally, if you have something that you can really prove is engaging, that has a lot of value to us. I mean, to use the nomenclature from the book Moneyball, you know, to me, engagement is the on-base percentage that really matters in the sport of communication. You know, everybody can talk about, I had this many people looking at it, but sometimes you have things that really stick with people over the long term because of engagement. That's really what you have to get a handle on. There isn't just one number that gives you a sense of what engagement is, however.
I mean, we're in a slightly different case because we have an existing audience, and company-wide we have an audience in excess of 80 million men. So we've got 90 different brands across there. One of the things we're involved with is the YouTube Original Content Channel Initiative. So we see, you know, creating branded content for that channel, the social media aspect, the engaging that audience across our different brands is going to be very powerful. And once we think we unlock that, we're going to be looking around for more and more stuff to put on and feed that audience.
Is it not often the case so that the social play is sort of ancillary oftentimes when it should be paramount and first and foremost to do?
It's increasingly come that way. We've done videos on our existing YouTube channel where it wasn't part of an existing story. It was just we decided to do an 11-car drag race with Ferraris and whatever. We used one of the automakers' Facebook page to alert their fans. We sent out press releases. We used our own Facebook and Twitter and social media. That single video did 3.1 million views in 14 days.
He's got the coolest job in the world, by the way. I know we're running out of time, so just to give as much value to this great audience as possible, I'm wondering if each one of you guys can go around and just give one piece of advice to content producers that they can think about going into 2012, knowing that it's going to be a turbulent, ever-changing world. Is there any kind of one nugget that you can kind of impart upon them? Tony, you can, no pressure.
No pressure. Don't be afraid of brands, and don't be afraid to say no. I mean, you know, one of the conversations we have all the time is people come in and they think you want to have, you know, the logo flush to camera, and you want the exact same copy points as you have in advertising. You know, we're actually not like that, okay? And, you know, we think we're very much in the content space an invited guest, so you can say it's too much.
Yeah.
And we're happy having those dialogues. All the people that I mentioned that we work with, you know, I'll get the script put on my desk at 5 o'clock saying they're shooting this tomorrow morning. Are you okay with this? What do you like about this? What do you like about that? What's your answer? Now, I'm probably overly sympathetic to that situation, so I allow people accessibility and quick turnaround on that stuff. But we're okay with somebody saying, hey, I really hate that and I don't think it fits with that character or this part of the show. We're like, okay, let's make another move, because we don't want to be there in a place that we you know, it's not appropriate for our brand or whatever message we have.
Great
that doesn't
advice.
work for us.
Great advice.
Yeah, I mean, I would say just be a good storyteller and focus on the entertainment value. I think, you know, as great as brand underfunding is, and even when you look at traditional TV and pitching to a TV network and the stamp that gets put on some of that, if it's not good content or if it's just a clear commercial, I think you're going to find out very quickly that your audience is going to recognize that and go away. So it's really about being entertaining and bringing that value through and through and being consistently entertaining, and also being realistic about the digital space and, you know, digital production methods and what it takes to create content all the time, and being able to scale, I think, is probably the biggest area there.
Yeah, keep it real too. I mean, people can easily spot when they're being you know, shilled at, and you know, if you want to entertain them and embed the product, it's got to be done organically. It's got to be done in a way that's realistic, it's sympathetic, and if it's the entertainment is part of the story, then, you know, make sure that that's what it is. Sometimes, you know, less is more.
I think everything that was said it makes total sense, and I agree with wholeheartedly. I think, you know, coming up, I think you have to think multi-screen, multi-platform, become conversant in and as fluent as possible in how storytelling differs from screen to screen, and and sort of get educated on that, because for clients of ours, we're really looking at multi-screen storytelling, transmedia storytelling, if you want to use that term, as being something that our clients are looking closely at. And so we're going to be looking for projects and properties that have that inherently built into them.
Thank you, guys. Great advice. My advice to you is take risks, have fun, and definitely take advantage of the opportunities in front of you. Thank you.